Have you ever wondered what your elderly loved ones do when they're completely alone? The side of them that family members rarely get to see. According to professional caregivers who've spent thousands of hours with seniors, there's an entire world of private moments that tell a deeper story about aging. And the seventh thing on our list? It's something most seniors would never admit to doing, but caregivers catch them in the act all the time. Their secret relationship with technology might completely change how you see your aging loved ones. Stay with me for all 12 revelations that will transform how you understand and connect with the seniors in your life. Understanding these private moments gives us insight into the true needs and desires of our elderly loved ones. As their independence naturally changes, what they do when alone reveals what they truly value, what they miss, and what they're still capable of. Today we'll follow the story of Margaret, a 78-year-old retired teacher from Ohio. She's lived alone since her husband passed 5 years ago, but receives daily visits from her caregiver, Sarah. Margaret's story will help illustrate what we've learned from dozens of professional caregivers across the country. These dedicated professionals have shared their observations while maintaining the utmost respect for seniors' privacy and dignity. What's remarkable is how consistent these behaviours are across different backgrounds, regions, and life circumstances. I want to be clear, these aren't secrets being exposed. They're beautiful glimpses into authentic senior life that help us better understand and support our loved ones. Many caregivers describe feeling privileged to witness these private moments that family members rarely see. The insights we're sharing today might change how you interact with the seniors in your life, perhaps helping you connect with them on a deeper level. If you care for an aging parent, grandparent, or work professionally with seniors, you'll find tremendous value in understanding these hidden behaviours. Before we reveal the first thing seniors do when alone, take a second to hit that like button and subscribe. We publish new content about senior well-being every week, and your support helps us reach more families who are navigating the challenging but rewarding journey of caring for elderly loved ones. The first thing caregivers consistently notice is how much time seniors spend with their photographs when they believe no one is watching. Sarah first discovered Margaret's photo ritual by accident. She arrived early one morning and found Margaret at her dining table, surrounded by dozens of old photographs carefully arranged in a semicircle. What caught Sarah's attention wasn't just the photos, it was that Margaret was talking to them, having full conversations with images of her late husband, her children when they were young, and friends who had passed away. Sarah. I heard her laugh and say, "Oh, James, you always knew how to make me smile." She was speaking to a photo of her husband from their 50th anniversary. She wasn't confused, she knew perfectly well he wasn't there. But in that private moment, those photographs became a bridge to her most cherished memories. This behaviour isn't unusual. According to Dr. Elena Marquez, a gerontologist who specializes in senior emotional health, this connection to the past isn't just nostalgia, it's identity affirmation. When seniors engage with photographs, they're reinforcing who they are by reconnecting with the roles that defined their lives: parent, spouse, professional, friend. What's fascinating is how these photo sessions often follow a pattern. Most seniors organize their photos not chronologically, but by emotional significance. Margaret keeps her most meaningful photos in a special box with a ribbon, photographs she only looks at when she's feeling particularly strong or particularly vulnerable. Many seniors report that these private photo sessions help them process grief in manageable doses. For Margaret, speaking to her late husband's photo isn't a sign of decline, it's a healthy coping mechanism that brings her genuine comfort. Here's an actionable tip for families. Create digital archives of these treasured photos that seniors can easily access. Sarah worked with Margaret's son to create a digital photo frame that cycles through family photos. When Margaret can't physically handle the photographs due to arthritis flare-ups, she can still connect with her memories. But don't replace physical photos entirely. The tactile experience of holding a photograph provides sensory stimulation that digital images can't replicate. Dr. Marquez recommends organizing physical photos in lightweight albums with clear sleeves so they're easier for arthritic hands to manage. What's most important is recognizing that these photo sessions aren't just idle reminiscing, they're active emotional work that helps seniors maintain their sense of self as other aspects of independence diminish. Many caregivers have noted that after these private photo sessions, seniors often appear more emotionally regulated and present in current interactions. It's as if reconnecting with their core identity gives them strength to face current challenges. Does your elderly loved one have a special photo they seem to cherish above all others? Or perhaps you've noticed them talking to photographs when they thought no one was looking. Share your experiences in the comments below. Your observation might help other families understand this beautiful and meaningful private ritual. The second private behavior caregivers consistently observe might make you smile seniors' secret food indulgences when nobody's watching. Sarah discovered Margaret's hidden stash completely by accident. While helping reorganize the linen closet, she found a shoebox behind the towels, filled with Ghirardelli chocolate squares, Margaret's favorite treat before her diabetes diagnosis. Sarah, I wasn't snooping, but when I asked Margaret about it, she just laughed and said, "A little sweetness keeps me going when the days get long." Despite Margaret's strict dietary guidelines from her doctor, this small rebellion brought immense joy to her life. She had developed a careful system, allowing herself just one square every other day, always after checking her blood sugar levels. Dr. Rajiv Patel, a geriatric nutritionist with 30 years of experience, explains why these secret indulgences are so common. For many seniors, especially those with health restrictions, food becomes one of the few remaining pleasures entirely under their control. While health is important, small, managed indulgences can significantly impact quality of life and psychological well-being. The key word here is managed. Margaret wasn't recklessly endangering her health. She had created her own balanced approach that her doctor might even approve if she shared it. Here's what caregivers recommend. Rather than eliminating these secret indulgences, work with healthcare providers to incorporate them safely into care plans. Dr. Patel suggests a better approach is often to acknowledge these desires and create a supervised plan that includes occasional treats in appropriate portions. This isn't just about food, it represents a broader tension between safety and autonomy. When we over-restrict seniors' choices, even with the best intentions, we may inadvertently diminish their sense of control and dignity. Sarah eventually spoke with Margaret's doctor, who approved a modified treat schedule that Margaret could enjoy openly, without secrecy. The result? Margaret actually consumed fewer chocolates overall once they became allowed rather than forbidden. What small treats do you or your elderly loved ones enjoy when no one's looking? Let us know in the comments below. The third private behavior caregivers frequently observe is seniors having animated conversations with themselves. Sarah first noticed this when she arrived at Margaret's house one morning and paused before announcing herself. Margaret was in the kitchen, preparing her morning tea, carrying on a detailed conversation about a new television show she'd watched the night before. Sarah. She was dissecting the plot, criticizing the ending, and even laughing at her own observations. Her tone would change as if she was playing different roles in the conversation. It was actually quite impressive. When Sarah asked other caregivers about this, she discovered nearly all of them had similar stories. This self-talk isn't a sign of cognitive decline, it's actually a healthy adaptation to living alone. Dr. Lynn Hernandez, a geriatric psychologist, explains self-talk helps seniors process thoughts, combat loneliness, and maintain cognitive function. It's essentially exercise for the brain. When we speak thoughts aloud, we engage different neural pathways than when we simply think them. It's important to distinguish healthy self-talk from concerning behavior. Healthy self-talk typically involves narrating daily activities like, "Now where did I put those scissors?" or working through decisions such as, "If I go to the store today, I should also stop at the pharmacy," and processing emotions like, "That news about David's illness made me so sad." More concerning patterns might include responding to voices others can't hear, consistent confusion about reality, or distressed and paranoid content. For Margaret, self-talk served as a bridge between solitude and social connection. She even told Sarah, "Sometimes I just need to hear a human voice, even if it's my own." Many caregivers report that seniors who engage in healthy self-talk often demonstrate better vocabulary retention and clearer thinking than those who remain silent for long periods. If you notice your elderly loved one talking to themselves, resist the urge to interrupt or express concern. Instead, acknowledge it casually if they seem embarrassed. "I talk to myself all the time too. It helps me think better." Have you noticed your elderly relatives talking to themselves? How do you feel about it? The fourth behavior caregivers discover is perhaps the most concerning yet understandable: seniors secretly performing tasks they've been explicitly told not to do for safety reasons. Sarah arrived one day to find Margaret on a step stool changing a light bulb in her hallway. This was particularly alarming because Margaret had fallen just 3 months earlier, resulting in a fractured wrist that was still healing. "Sarah, when I asked why she didn't wait for me, her answer broke my heart. She said, 'I've been changing light bulbs for 60 years. I won't become helpless over a little fall.'" This determination to maintain independence isn't stubbornness. It's about preserving identity. Dr. Marcus Reynolds, a specialist in geriatric occupational therapy, explains, "Independence isn't just about physical capability, it's about identity." When we hastily remove tasks from seniors' routines, we're unintentionally stripping away pieces of how they define themselves. The solution isn't to simply look the other way and hope for the best. Instead, caregivers have found success with collaborative approaches that preserve dignity while reducing risk. Identify which independent activities matter most to your loved one and focus safety modifications there. Install grab bars, non-slip surfaces and proper lighting in areas where they insist on maintaining independence. Consider motion-activated lighting to eliminate the need for changing bulbs entirely. Arrange regular independence assessments with occupational therapists who can suggest adaptive equipment. Sarah worked with Margaret to develop a system. Certain tasks were green light activities she could do anytime, others were yellow light, do with caution or modifications, and some remained firmly red light, always ask for help. The key insight? Margaret's need to change that light bulb wasn't about illumination, it was about proving to herself that she still could. What activities have you noticed your elderly loved ones insisting on doing themselves despite safety concerns? Our fifth revelation showcases something truly remarkable: the ingenious workarounds seniors develop when faced with everyday challenges. When Sarah was helping Margaret organize her kitchen, she discovered something extraordinary: a homemade reaching tool crafted from a wooden spoon, rubber bands, and 2 clothespins. Margaret had created it to retrieve items from high shelves without asking for help. "Sarah, I was absolutely amazed. It wasn't just functional, it was brilliantly designed." She'd even added cushioning with a dish sponge so it wouldn't scratch her delicate items. This wasn't an isolated case. Many caregivers report finding similar inventions: pill bottles modified with rubber bands for easier gripping, doorknob extenders made from pipe insulation, and makeshift reading magnifiers created from plastic bottles filled with water. Occupational therapist Denise Wong explains, "These adaptations reveal remarkable creativity and resilience. They're not just solving problems, they're asserting control over their environment. Each homemade tool represents a refusal to be limited by physical changes. What's most revealing is how these innovations provide insight into specific challenges seniors face but might not verbalize." Margaret's reaching tool spoke volumes about her frustration with standard kitchen design that no longer served her needs. These creative solutions often work better than store-bought alternatives because they're perfectly customized to individual needs. When Sarah showed Margaret's invention to other clients, many preferred it over commercial reaching tools. Some caregivers now encourage this problem-solving by organizing senior hack sessions where elderly clients share their innovations. These gatherings not only validate their ingenuity, but also help spread useful ideas. The most important takeaway: don't be quick to replace these homemade solutions with proper equipment. These inventions represent triumph over limitation, something deeply meaningful to many seniors. What clever solutions have you or your elderly loved ones created? Share your innovations in the comments below. The sixth private behavior might surprise you. Many seniors actually rehearse conversations before family visits. Sarah discovered this unexpectedly when she arrived 30 minutes early one day. From outside Margaret's door, she heard what sounded like a conversation. Concerned someone had entered without permission, she used her key, only to find Margaret alone, practicing questions about her grandson's college experience before his scheduled visit. She had prepared conversation topics on index cards. She was rehearsing questions about his classes and campus life, even practicing how to pronounce terms like biochemistry and neuroscience. This preparation isn't about mental decline. Psychologist Dr. Elena Vasquez explains, this reveals how deeply seniors value connection despite communication challenges. Many worry about appearing confused or out of touch, especially with younger family members. Rehearsing gives them confidence. For seniors who experience word-finding difficulties or processing delays, this preparation helps bridge the gap between their desire for meaningful conversation and the cognitive challenges they face. To make conversations easier for your elderly loved ones, 1. Share conversation topics in advance, even a simple text saying, "Can't wait to tell you about my new job on Saturday." 2. Allow extra processing time during conversations. Resist the urge to fill silences. 3. Create environments with minimal background noise. 4. Consider bringing photos or objects that can spark natural conversation. Most importantly, recognize that this rehearsal reflects how much they value your visit. They're working to make your time together meaningful. Have you ever noticed your elderly relative preparing for your visits? Perhaps finding notes about your life or current events? Tell us about it in the comments below. Remember that seventh behavior I teased earlier? Here it is. Many seniors are far more tech-savvy than their families realize, secretly teaching themselves digital skills when no one's watching. Sarah discovered this unexpectedly when she walked in on Margaret, intently watching a YouTube tutorial on her tablet. "Sarah, I nearly dropped the groceries." There she was, following along with a video called "Hidden iPhone Features for Seniors," and taking notes in a dedicated notebook labelled Tech Tips. When asked why she kept her learning secret, Margaret's answer was revealing. "My son gets so impatient when he shows me things. He explains everything once, very quickly, and then seems disappointed when I don't remember. It's easier to learn at my own pace without anyone watching me struggle." This sentiment resonates with many seniors who find themselves caught between wanting technological independence and fearing judgment for their learning curve. Tech educator Ramesh Patel, who specializes in teaching digital skills to older adults, explains, "Many seniors would rather appear uninterested in technology than appear incompetent with it, but privately, they're deeply curious and often more persistent learners than younger generations. The most effective way to support their tech journey is through dignity-preserving learning approaches that respect their intelligence while acknowledging different learning needs. Provide written instructions they can reference later. Focus on benefits that matter to them. This app helps you see photos of your grandchildren. Allow them to set the pace without hovering. Celebrate small wins without excessive praise that can feel patronizing. Most importantly, never assume technological disinterest. Many seniors are silently building digital skills that bring them joy, connection, and a sense of belonging in our tech-centered world. Has an elderly person in your life ever surprised you with their hidden tech knowledge? Share your story in the comments below. Our eighth discovery reveals something truly beautiful, the private creative pursuits that many seniors cultivate when no one is watching. Sarah was searching for Margaret's medication list when she accidentally discovered a leather-bound notebook tucked between the mattress and box spring. Inside were dozens of handwritten poems, some dating back years, others written just days earlier. Sarah, they were extraordinary, beautiful reflections on aging, love, loss. But when I mentioned them, Margaret was visibly embarrassed. She called them just scribblings and quickly changed the subject. This reaction is common. Many caregivers report discovering hidden artwork, journals, knitting projects or model collections that their elderly clients have never shared with family members. Dr. Eleanor Thompson, a specialist in creative therapy for older adults, explains, creative expression becomes increasingly vital as we age. It provides cognitive stimulation, emotional processing, and a sense of purpose. Most importantly, it offers control over a private inner world when the outer world may feel increasingly uncontrollable. For Margaret, poetry wasn't just a hobby, it was a sanctuary. Her poems processed grief, celebrated small joys, and preserved memories she feared losing. The question becomes, how do we honor these private creative spaces while encouraging sharing when appropriate? The key is gentle invitation without pressure. Express genuine interest without demanding to see their work. Provide quality materials for their creative pursuits without commentary. Create opportunities for sharing without spotlight. Group activities where everyone participates. Respect their decision if they prefer to keep their creativity private. Sarah eventually helped Margaret submit one poem to a senior literary magazine, anonymously at Margaret's insistence. When it was published, Margaret's pride was evident despite her continued modesty. What hidden talents or hobbies have you discovered in your elderly loved ones? Share your stories in the comments below. Our ninth discovery takes us into deeply personal territory, the private grieving rituals that many seniors maintain years, even decades after losing their loved ones. Sarah first noticed something unusual about Margaret's dinner routine. Though she lived alone, Margaret occasionally set two places at her dining table. One evening, Sarah arrived unexpectedly and found Margaret having dinner across from a place set with her late husband's favourite mug and a small framed photo. Sarah, VO. I felt like I was intruding on something sacred. Margaret looked embarrassed, but then explained that on the 12th of each month, their wedding anniversary date, she still has dinner with James. This private morning ritual isn't unusual. Many caregivers report discovering similar practices: unwashed pillowcases that still carry a spouse's scent, daily one-sided conversations with a departed loved one, or carefully maintained clothing that hasn't been worn in years. Dr. Vivian Sanchez, a grief specialist focusing on elder care, explains, for many seniors, grief isn't something to get over. It's a relationship they continue to navigate. These rituals aren't signs of unhealthy attachment, but rather meaningful ways of maintaining connection while still living fully in the present. What's most important is distinguishing between healthy private mourning and grief that interferes with daily functioning. Margaret's monthly dinners brought her comfort rather than keeping her trapped in the past. Supporting seniors through these private grief practices requires delicate balance. Acknowledge their ongoing bond with departed loved ones without suggesting they should move on. Respect privacy around mourning rituals without treating them as secrets that need hiding. Create space for sharing memories without forcing conversations. Watch for signs that grief is becoming isolating rather than comforting. When Sarah asked if she should leave on the evenings Margaret had dinner with James, Margaret surprised her by saying, "No, he would have liked you. You can join us." This gradual inclusion of others in private grief rituals often signals healthy integration. How do you support your elderly loved ones through grief while respecting their privacy? Share your approaches in the comments below. Our 10th discovery reveals something both touching and significant: the elaborate self-care rituals many seniors faithfully maintain when no one is watching. Sarah noticed that Margaret always looked particularly well groomed on Thursdays, but couldn't figure out why until she arrived early one morning. Through the bathroom door, she heard Margaret humming as cabinet doors opened and closed. Later, she spotted an impressive collection of skincare products hidden in the back of Margaret's linen closet. Sarah, VO. It was a complete luxury skincare routine: high-end creams, serums, facial tools, products she'd been using for decades. Every Thursday was her special beauty day, but she never mentioned it to anyone. This discovery is common among caregivers. Behind closed doors, many seniors maintain meticulous grooming rituals they rarely discuss, whether it's a gentleman's precise shaving routine using vintage equipment or a weekly hair treatment that's been part of their routine since youth. Dr. Regina Kim, a gerontologist specializing in mental health, explains, "These self-care rituals aren't merely about vanity, they're about maintaining identity, dignity, and control. When physical capabilities change, continuing familiar grooming practices provides powerful psychological reassurance that the core self remains intact." For Margaret, her Thursday beauty ritual connected her to her younger self, the woman who once worked in a department store beauty counter in her 20s and never lost her appreciation for proper skincare. Supporting these rituals requires thoughtful approaches. Notice and genuinely compliment the results of their self-care efforts. Provide adaptive tools that make beloved routines possible: long-handled combs, easy-grip containers. Respect privacy around grooming. Many seniors find it deeply embarrassing to need help with appearance. Maintain access to preferred personal care products, rather than substituting easier alternatives. Sarah eventually helped Margaret reorganize her beauty supplies for easier access, but was careful never to suggest simplifying the ritual itself, understanding that its complexity was part of its value. What self-care rituals have you noticed in your elderly relatives that surprised you? Our 11th discovery reveals something that concerns many caregivers: the tendency of seniors to hide or significantly downplay their physical discomfort. Sarah began noticing subtle signs that Margaret was experiencing pain wincing when standing from her favourite chair, massaging her hands when she thought no one was looking, and quietly adjusting her position throughout the day. But whenever asked directly, Margaret would simply say, "I'm fine, just a little stiff today." The revelation came when Sarah arrived unexpectedly one afternoon and found Margaret applying a heating pad to her knee while consulting a small notebook where she'd been tracking her pain levels, remedies tried, and results, a detailed health journal she'd never mentioned. Sarah, VO. When I asked about it, she reluctantly admitted she'd been managing arthritis pain for years. She had developed her own system of heat therapy, gentle exercises, and timing her activities around her good hours in the day. Dr. James Wilson, a geriatric pain specialist, explains this common behaviour. Many seniors minimize pain for multiple reasons: fear that acknowledging pain might lead to loss of independence, concern about becoming a burden to family, worry about expensive treatments, or simply the generational belief that discussing discomfort is complaining. This silence around pain can have serious consequences when it delays important treatment. Sarah discovered that Margaret had been experiencing concerning chest pain, but dismissed it as just indigestion until it became severe enough to require emergency care. Creating safer spaces for honest health discussions requires a thoughtful approach. Normalize pain as information rather than weakness. Pain is your body's way of communicating. Emphasize how addressing minor problems prevents larger ones. Frame medical attention as preserving independence rather than diminishing it. Share third-person examples. Many people with similar symptoms have found relief with. After their emergency room scare, Sarah and Margaret developed a weekly health check-in, a judgment-free conversation that helped Margaret feel comfortable sharing symptoms earlier without fear of overreaction. Have you experienced challenges getting your elderly loved ones to discuss health concerns? What approaches have worked for you? Our final discovery is perhaps the most beautiful. The profound joy seniors find in simple pleasures we often rush past. Sarah noticed that Margaret would sit by her kitchen window for hours, completely absorbed in watching the birds at her feeder. Her face would light up at each new visitor, especially when the cardinal she'd named Red would appear, Sarah Vio. It wasn't just passing interest, it was pure, unfiltered joy, the kind we rarely allow ourselves in our busy lives. This capacity to find deep satisfaction in small moments represents not diminishment, but wisdom, a reminder that happiness often exists in what we already have around us. What simple pleasures bring your elderly loved ones the most joy? Share in the comments below. When we understand these private moments, we see our elderly loved ones more completely, not just as people who need our care, but as complex individuals with rich inner lives and ongoing stories. Margaret's journey reminds us that behind closed doors, seniors are still creating, adapting, loving, and finding joy. By honoring these private dimensions, we transform caregiving from simply meeting needs to preserving dignity. The most meaningful support recognizes that our elderly loved ones are still writing their stories. They're not finished becoming who they are. If you found these insights valuable, hit that like button and share with someone caring for a senior. Subscribe for more authentic content on senior living. Comment with your own observations. Our community grows stronger through shared experiences.